Hey guys, it's Jeremy Harold, Metal Music Meltdown, back with another video. What I have you today, guys, is something a little bit different. I was kind of thinking to myself about physical media and the other rant I did about the cost of physical media being expensive nowadays. And I just wanted to kind of do another discussion. This time I'm gonna, as you can see from the title of the video, this is my top 10 reasons why I still buy CDs in 2023. I started buying music in the early to mid 90s when I was a young teenager. And at that time, CDs were pretty much replacing vinyl, and vinyl was kind of out, and you couldn't really buy new releases on vinyl anymore at the time. And CD was the primary format, so that's where I started buying my music. I did start buying some vinyl kind of more recently, but I bought very few, just albums I really like. I only have like 20 or 30, but the majority of my collection is on CD, and that's 95% of what I buy still. So I just wanted to comprise a quick list of why I still buy CDs in 2023, opposed to what most younger people do nowadays, which is just streaming. They don't seem to care to have a physical copy. But I just wanted to discuss why I think it's a better option just to buy. So let's jump right in, guys, so the video is not too long. The first reason I have here is the cost. CDs, although they're much more expensive than they used to be, they're definitely a lot cheaper than buying vinyl. Probably a fraction of the price, at least half. Even on new releases, they're about, in Canadian dollars, maybe 12 to 20, depending on the artist and how big the band is, etc. But they're definitely, like I said, a lot cheaper than buying vinyl copies. And also with cost in terms of shipping, if you do order from a label overseas or a different country, or even locally in your own country, it's definitely a lot cheaper to have a box of CDs shipped to you than it is records. So you save a lot of money that way too. So definitely cost is a big factor. It's an easy way to build your collection faster by buying the format on CD. And the next one is portability. You can bring a CD anywhere you go. If you want to go to your buddy's house, or you go to a cottage and you have like a boombox or some kind of portable player, you can still bring like a handful of CDs with you that you want to listen to. You can still do streaming, but the sound quality on streaming is not the same, and a lot of artists aren't available on streaming, which I'll get into momentarily. But CDs are just more compact and easy to bring with you. Records, you can't bring anywhere with you. You need your stereo, your turntable, unless you go to a buddy's house that has a turntable as well. Technically, you could bring the vinyl with you, but it's just bulky and more inconvenient. So it's just the portability is a big plus for me, and one reason I stick primarily to CDs. And the next title I have here is the artist. So when I say artist, I mean a couple different ways. The majority one is supporting the artist. A lot of work goes into these projects, the songwriting, the music itself, the packaging, the artwork. So the artists put a lot of time and effort and money into this stuff, whether they're on a label or not. And it's a perfect way to support the artist. Their contracts are usually written up based around physical copy sales, not really around like Spotify. The artists make almost no money at all, and obviously if you're watching it on YouTube, they get pretty much nothing. So yeah, buying physical copy for that reason is very important, especially if it's a younger band that's not on a major label, and they're just selling their stuff through like Bandcamp. It's especially important to buy them through the things like that, because 90% of the proceeds go directly to the band, and that money can really help the band tour and do other projects, get studio time, etc. So buying the physical copy is still very important, and for me, supporting the artist is a very important reason why I still buy physical copies. And the next one here is availability. So for CDs, they definitely press a lot more copies of CD than they do on vinyl. And the secondhand market for CDs is huge. It's a lot easier to pick up an older CD that you need for your collection from a used copy from a store, or online at eBay or Amazon from a third-party seller. And so it's a lot easier to get your hands on a CD. Even a brand new CD from like 20 years ago can still be available because they pressed so many copies back in the 90s and early 2000s, etc. So it's just a lot easier to get your hands on a CD than it is for instance, a record, because they press a lot less of them. And once they go out of print, the cost of records goes through the roof, and it's much easier to get your hands on a CD. And the next one here is the less likely to be damaged in shipping. Of course, everyone knows the dreaded when the package comes in and you get a CD case that's cracked or whatever, but that's pretty much the worst thing that's going to happen to you when you get CDs shipped. It's very difficult to scratch the actual CD part of it. That affects the audio quality. At the very worst, the casing will be cracked, and that's very easy to replace. You can buy those cases in bulk for dirt cheap. But when you ship a record, there's a lot of factors that can affect the how it comes to you in the mail. If the person didn't package it properly, the corners of the case could be bent or scratched or damaged, or the records weren't shipped properly in the packaging. The record can be warped and cause skipping or not to play properly. And yeah, just a lot of factors can really damage a record a lot easier than a CD. So I thought that was an interesting point, a better reason to buy CDs nowadays. The next one here is sound quality. Streaming services still pretty much run MP3 format, so the sound quality is definitely not as good as on a CD. And it's just a better listening experience. And it's very hard to scratch a CD to the point where it won't play. So it's a very durable format and a lot long lasting. Whereas on a record, over time, the record can warp or it can start to skip. You get the surface noises, the cracks and pops, which is good on some music. It makes it sound more authentic, but generally for music, you don't want that. It kind of lowers the sound quality. And yeah, record generally has a warmer sound to it. So it's very easy to damage a record compared to a CD, and then the sound quality quickly diminishes. And as I mentioned, on MP3 format, it's definitely a lesser quality than on a CD. And the next one here is storage. CDs are very compact, like they're a fraction of the size of a record. So it's much easier to have 1,000 CDs in a pretty small space, whereas 1,000 records would take up half a wall. So the storage options for CDs is a lot easier, and it's just a lot easier to showcase and show your collection on CDs compared to records. And the next one here is Gapless playback. This is kind of an interesting one. So on MP3 format on streaming services, if you play an album where normally on a CD the songs would kind of bleed into each other, they insert gaps between the tracks, so you get like a sudden halt in the noise, and it kind of breaks the track up very abruptly. Whereas on the CD, the way the CD's pressed, it's essentially one track. It's digitally put onto the CD as one track, and then at the beginning of the track there's like a playlist, and that's how the CD knows where to divide it up into each track. But if you have an artist like Pink Floyd or something, where a lot of their songs kind of bleed into each other, you get that seamless flow from one song to the other on a CD. There's no gapless playback. But on streaming services, between the songs where they normally kind of blend together, you'll get an abrupt stop, and it's really annoying. I don't like it at all. So that's a small, but I think an important reason to still buy CDs. And the next one here is extended versions or other remasters. When you stream online, you pretty much get either the latest version of the CD that was put out, or maybe the original master copy. But if there's a certain remix or a master copy that you can't get online, you can only get it on the CD. Or if you get like a 40th anniversary CD edition that has previously unreleased tracks or live tracks, etc., those won't be available on streaming services. You'll lose out on those bonus material. And on vinyl, you won't get those either because they can't fit on the vinyl. So CDs is one of the only formats that you can still get those options. And again, at a much cheaper price. And the other one here, the last one here is, well, collectability. So just a general tangible copy of having something physical. It's just, if you're a collector, you like to display your art, your collection, and kind of show off your musical taste. If you have streaming services, you don't own anything. There's nothing to show, in your shelves, or no tangible product you can hold or read the liner notes and go through the stuff when you're listening to the music and get more detail. It's just like you don't own anything. So if the streaming service goes down, you're shit out of luck. You can't do anything. If you have the collection, like a tangible product, you can listen to it anytime, no matter what happens. You lose power. You can, play a boombox with batteries or whatever. But yeah, it's just a collectability part of it. It's part of being a collector and enjoying your passion for the music and having a tangible product. So that's pretty much my list, guys. But there's one more I wanted to throw in, kind of a bonus. It's just privacy. This is a really small one, but it kind of came to my head when I was thinking about this topic. When you're using streaming services, like when you browse online and everything, they know what you're looking for. There's algorithms that pick up on your listening habits and what you search for and for bands, etc. And then they send you information about other bands you might like and stuff. And most people think, well, that's a good thing because you can be exposed to other bands. But some people, they don't want people watching what they're doing, and they're going to watch you no matter what you do, even not on music related, but on browsing and stuff. But when you play a CD in your stereo at home, the only person that knows what you're listening to or what artist you're into is yourself. It's more private that way. It's more of a stupid thing, but it kind of came to my head, and I kind of thought of it a little bit. If you listen to nothing but streaming services, you're just going to get bombarded with suggested playlist and artist and emails, and they probably sell your information to who knows who, etc., and to send you junk mail, etc. So that was another one that just kind of popped in my head near the end of making this list. So let me know down below, guys, if you still buy physical formats such as CDs, and if there's any reasons that you collect that I might have missed. And until next time, guys, keep it metal.